Hello, everyone. AMG Hobby Talk, episode 23. We're back here. We're back with the gentleman. Sherry will be back from location at some point in the near, not too distant future. So, first, Steve, collector of the scalps, collector of the people. How are you today?
Refreshed. I slept for about 12 hours last night, so I feel great.
Fantastic. Look at you. Blair, how are you?
I am awesome. I didn't get as much sleep. I was cramming for our podcast today. So Sherry was going to be away, so I've been studying our Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. So we may touch on that a little bit. We'll touch on that, and we'll have a little bit more expansive Pokemon coverage coming up forthcoming. Since we're not going to be fixated so much on Series 2, we will touch on Bedard a little bit because it's still a relevant topic, and obviously we've got some comments and things like that related to it, so we'll touch on that here in a second. But we will also be talking about 22-23 Parkhurst Champions, which is one of the new products that are coming in. So this was going to be more of a traditional episode since we're going to be able to talk about some actual products. But before I get to that, I'm going to quickly go through a couple of comments from the last episode because a lot of people were very engaged. The last couple of episodes with the Bedard-centric thing, obviously Bedard Mania is running wild with a lot of folks in and out of the hockey space. So it's a relevant topic for a lot of folks. So first one here is, so Adam 1979, again, they truncated and make them weird in terms of the naming convention on here, but hopefully you guys know who you are as I read your comments. So Walmart just got the tins available online tonight, and they were gone in like an hour, which is what I'm hearing from a lot of retail. Pretty much as soon as it comes in, people are running it out the door. Like I said, the excitement of trying to pull the Bedard has prompted a lot of people to really chase after it pretty strong. So thank you for that comment. Gotham Collections here. I've been hearing nothing but praise for AMG. My break is over, so I can't wait to visit this week. Let's go first pick overall sends. Got to include the sends thing at the end. So that's consistent with Gotham Collections. So thank you for your comment as always. Blaine here. Blaine Hamilton says, I don't know that thanks could be said enough for the release day deal. So referring to what Steve mentioned, price unknown, but there was a release day pricing deal here. Gave everybody a little bit of a break. You made sure I kept just enough money in my pocket to jump in the next couple of tops MLB releases. So there you go. So good to hear that you were able to take advantage of that, Blaine. So Marcus Downey here. I go to AMG with my mom, and I got a Bedard from a 10. Excellent. I'll for sure remember it forever. Good. I was around 7 or 8 when Crosby was a rookie and never thought to buy cards by then. So nice. Very good. Good to hear. Next up here, CC says, good on AMG for pricing Series 2 like they did. I'm sure many of your patrons remember this release for a long time with fond memories of the shop. Great for building solid relationships. I'm from Toronto, but hope to be able to visit your shop in the future one day. So CC actually is a frequent commenter on my YouTube channel. So excellent that he was able to comment on. So thank you, CC. I appreciate that. And then Sean here, who asked the previous question about the restock, was just to follow up on my question about when AMG might restock Series 2. Steve mentioned that he might have to use the secondary market, which I'm assuming is other retailers, so you can kind of answer to that here in a second. Does Upper Deck just produce one print run of the cards, or are there waves? So I'll touch on the second one here a little bit. You got to remember, so sometimes for some products, there can be waves, but also a lot of it comes down to distribution. So that's always one element of it that you kind of have to bear in mind. So even sometimes when you got multiple waves, it's just multiple waves of distribution. So one set goes out, people get it, and then obviously more appears, so to speak. Upper Deck can do multiple stocks. Also, for some products, you got EPAC. So in a way, that's another wave. You got to kind of factor that in mind. That's almost a different category, but there's still the cards. So when EPAC comes out down the road here, you're going to be able to get Bedard cards out of that too. So it's almost like its own category, separate from what you would consider retail and hobby. But you got your retail products, you got your hobby products, and then you're going to have multiple waves of distribution, more likely than not. But Steve, do you want to touch on the secondary market part of it?
Yeah, so as people are well aware, we sold out of the hobby right away and passed along the great price to our customers, and we did follow up with saying we're actively pursuing more product. We have found some. It will be on the way to the store shortly, so we will have a little bit more. Super limited supply, but over the next couple months, if it's available and the price makes sense, we'll go after it. There's a certain number that it no longer makes sense, but we do have a limited supply headed this way. So when it arrives, we'll let customers know. Obviously, it's going to cost a little bit more on our end as well as the customers' end, but it's still we're doing the best we can, and when we provided that great value, I think customers understand we're working with them too, not against them. So if we have to charge a little bit more for something, they'll understand the reason why. So we'll definitely post when more products available.
Absolutely. And I'll use this opportunity here to kind of put the little scrolling ticker here to remind everybody that you can access. So you've got the Instagram there, you've got the website there. There's also Facebook, and those things are going to be in the description, so you can check those out. All those are good avenues to get updates on when some of this stuff happens, restocks and things like that. If that kind of thing occurs, you might want to follow those social medias. That's a good way. Also, it's a good way of contacting the store. Like I said, we go through the comments here, which is always great and greatly appreciated. So appreciate the engagement. But in reality, if you want to get an answer a little bit quicker, I always emphasize to you, use one of these avenues, the website, the Instagram, any of those contact points, even the Facebook, use those contact points and reach out, because then you'll get a quicker answer, especially if you got a burning question that you really want to know the response to. One other thing I'll quickly add to what Steve said is that there is always a little bit of a balancing act, and maybe down the road in an episode we can talk about that, because reality, as soon as you add the secondary market into it, you can technically get almost any product that's still available, but then price point becomes a thing. So you're able to give a very good price to begin with because you're able to get inventory, you're able to get a certain allocation. But then in the secondary market, you don't necessarily have control over it. You can negotiate and hopefully you can get the best possible price, which in turn gives the best possible price to the customer. But at a certain point, you have to balance out where, yeah, I can get boxes of this, but it's going to cost so much more that you may not be happy with the result on the other side of it, because it has to be marked up accordingly. So there's a balancing act between get the product and get the product at a price that people will appreciate and actually be able to feel like they benefited from. What I'll do here is I will go into a couple of cards that came in the shop, and then we'll finish up mostly talking about some new products. So let's start off with a couple of cards here that we were able to showcase, and then we'll get into that piece. So here we go. First one, I'm going to take a look here. Jake Gunsel. I probably mispronounced that, so I apologize.
That's about right.
Game Used edition. This is a 2022 net card. So we've got that going. They've started to use the net cards the last several years. They've done it for a while now, but they are always a bit of an interesting mix. If you collect a lot of stuff for a player, this is a nice kind of change of pace as opposed to the regular kind of memorabilia. So a net card's a little different.
Looks like numbered to 5 too, eh?
It is numbered to 5, yes. And this one's from the All-Star game in Las Vegas in 2022. So very nice. So we've got that one here. And then we got one of our draft day marks. So this one's a little autograph on there. So this is from Lucas Reichel of the Blackhawks. So a different Blackhawk, but we've got that on here with the autograph on the piece of memorabilia. And this one is numbered 35 on this one. Next up, we got a little baseball. We got a 2022 Bowman, Ellie De La Cruz in a PSA 10 with an auto 10. So this is first Bowman here. So PSA DNA certification on top of it. It is numbered to 499. It is a clean autograph in the sense that it's there, but it is also an E with a scribble.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a very flourished E and a very flourished scribble. Let's put it that way.
I love the E.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice E. Yep.
A little questionable. I'm saying a little questionable, but nonetheless, as far as the E in the scribble, it is a very clean E in scribble. So
yes.
It is unmarked. Next up here, we've got a Joe Burrow from playoff. So this looks like it's the 4th down variation out of 10. So it is a tougher one. It is a sticker autograph, but the autograph does fit in there. So it's a rookie autograph out of 10 for Joe Burrow. Mm-hmm. Pretty solid pickup. Then we got here from the SP Game Used Edition. So this one's All-Star jersey and banner, it looks like. Mm-hmm. So this one's Trevor Zegras, and it is numbered to 10. So it is a jersey, banner, autograph out of 10.
Mm-hmm. I like that one. And back to your comment last week, I think, Carlos, I like how that's kind of color matched the jerseys with the picture.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes it look pretty clean.
It's more than anything an aesthetic thing. I know that there are some collectors who specifically try to target these things. I've done this in the past for my own personal collections, especially player collections. Sometimes I'll get multiple copies of a card just to get different versions with different jersey pieces or patch pieces or whatever. It's an aesthetic thing. And I know other collectors that do similar things where like, do you need multiple copies? No. But is it nice to have different pieces of a patch or different pieces of a jersey that match up to certain colors? Yeah, it can be kind of nice to have. Again, completely unnecessary. It's just something if maybe the regular challenge of collecting isn't enough for you and you want to make it a little more interesting for yourself. So whatever makes you happy. And then we got ourselves the Outburst. So this is the silver Outburst of Connor Bedard Young Gun. Obviously, the Connor Bedard is the big chase as far as that's concerned. We speculated and talked a little bit about it. For me, for the money, so to speak, the silver Outburst and the clear cuts, I think are two good options. Not cheap, certainly not inexpensive, But at the same time, I do think it's going to help that they are a little bit tougher versus the regular version, which slowly is going to start creeping into the market. And that actually leads me into a quick little discussion. So thank you to the team for providing these images. So some good stuff. So real quick, that leads me to a really quick discussion before we get into the product piece. And I want to kind of talk to you about how the Bedard thing's going so far. People coming in the store, talking about it. But before we do, one thing that we'll talk about, since I mentioned it there, is that one of the things that I've observed is that obviously more of those Bedards are starting to come into market. People are pulling them from retail. They're pulling them from hobby, and they're starting to come into it. They're starting to send them off for grading. So the numbers are starting to go up, and accordingly, the price is slowly starting to come down. So, it's not dropping immediately, but we're definitely seeing a decrease versus those initial sales, going down a little bit, going down a little bit more. And I expect that trend to continue as more hit the market, and they're just simply more available. And I think that's going to make the price. Now, for folks on the sidelines, maybe it's too expensive, too rich for their blood. I think it'll slowly come back towards you. I don't think it's going to come back to bargain basement price, but I think it's going to come down to a little bit more reasonable relative to the box price.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, now the card's coming down to a nice price point. And if you are looking for a Bedard, sometime in the near future, it might not be a bad idea to pick one up. The raw card price has probably dropped $300 to $500 since the madness started. So like Carlos said, I don't think it's going to drop much more. So yeah, definitely if you were planning on purchasing one, keep your eye out because one will become available, and sometimes one will sneak through the cracks and you'll get a good buy on it as well.
Yeah. I think in this case, a little bit of patience will serve you well. You just want to kind of keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled. And then if you seize a good opportunity, then you can kind of take advantage of it. And it'll be kind of the, I use the Connor McDavid thing. It started off at a decent price, obviously not crazy like it is today. Today's a little different, but they printed more, I think, of this series than 2015. So it's one of those things where supply, obviously demand is really high. That's what's kind of held up price to where it is right now. But even still, as supply comes in, the price will start to drop. And then if down the road, Bedard is as advertised, he's played well, especially given the quality of the team he's currently playing. He is leading them in goals and in points. So, about as good as you can do given what the team is. But if he comes as advertised over the next couple of years, then that price will start creeping back up. That's the Connor McDavid kind of path, what happened. And then as you accomplish things, then the price starts coming up. And then the McDavid today is actually a very strong price for his young gun.
Yeah. And we chatted about it just before coming on. The graded ones now are starting to come to market. So I think that's going to be the next wave. So I wouldn't jump out there looking for a 10 right now, but it's probably a good time to try to hunt down the raw one.
Yeah, if you can make your own 10. But we saw that. So I can tell you, just from confirmed sales, the first couple of 10s that came in the market were about 5,000 US, give or take. And it's mainly because they were the first ones to market. The next couple will steadily come down. What's funny is some people who may not be familiar, may not be aware, will be like, well, why is the price going down? I say, well, as there are more than simply supply demand, right? We increase the supply. Yes, there's demand, but not everybody's capable of paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a single card, no matter what. But then you add more supply into it, and now the people got their initial copy, so they may not necessarily need two. So now they're out of the market, and then the next person up, and then the price just adjusts accordingly as the supply starts to increase. So, and I think the raw copy, it'll be the same thing. As the supply increases, you've got your copy, great. This other person's got their copy. Well, they're out of the marketplace. They don't need to buy another copy. And then next person up until we basically get a supply to everybody that needs one that is willing to pay the price at the time. Little supply and demand economics always works in play. So real quick, so we're going to talk a little bit about some products here. So what we can do, Blair, I think there's some, did you want to mention anything about any of the Pokemon products? If you want to touch on any highlights or anything that catches you, stuff that's coming in, or...
Yeah, so we've got a big release. I think it's timing is everything, of course. So we're having our trade night. Sorry, I might be jumping ahead, but trade night is this Friday. So again, this latest Temporal Forces kind of coincides with that. So yeah, it's a big release. We're kind of getting everything all at once. So we're going to have a lot of different variety in the Temporal Forces. Just a breakdown. May not do this as nice as Sherry, but I'll give it my go here. So we're the set is 218 cards, and there's 162 base, and then 56 secret rare cards. And then the secret rare cards, Sherry gave me this info. You're looking at 13 EXs. There's 2 Terra cards, 22 illustration rares. And then there's 6 hyper rare golds, and they feature ancient and future cards. And then it is actually a smaller set. It's the smallest of the Scarlet and Violet sets, and it's the smallest since 2021 when they had battle styles. So that's something to keep in mind. It might make it a little bit more collectible since it's not a massive set. And they are introducing these, they're Ace spec cards. So something big for gamers, which I've met a few gamers since I've come in here. So I'm starting to learn a little bit about that side, not enough to play, but so these cards are they're very powerful for the playing aspect of it. So I think that those guys are going to be looking for those. It's going to show a little differently than the other cards. They're kind of pink with hollows. And there was a little note on the site I was looking. It's going to be possible to pull one of those and a secret rare in the pack. So yeah, so it sounds like a great set, very shiny. I think the only thing I saw that they're not.
That's what, Steve, in the Pokemon world, that's what matters. Is it shiny?
It is shiny. Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot to go over. It's a big set, or a lot of different products. So they're not doing a build and battle stadium. That was the only thing I couldn't find. But other than that, I think they're doing all the variations. So yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So I'm glad that Blair did his homework for this breakdown, because that entire segment may as well have been done entirely in German. Like I just steer forward and go, yes.
You didn't that?
I didn't follow a damn word of it. It may as well literally have been. It's like the Deutschland, the Deutsch. Yes. Ja. I got nothing. But nonetheless, for those of you who are following Collect Pokemon, that does sound like there is quite a bit of things available for you in it. I do know that, obviously, given the nature of the card game and how popular it is, we joke about it, but at the end of the day, no, the shiny cards are what draws the people. That's what they're into. And I support anybody who is passionate about the hobby that they collect. And I've seen some of the Pokemon collectors, and they're very passionate. And that's the reason why it's like, no, I got time for it. So go ahead. Even if I have no idea what the hell Blair just said. And I don't.
Yeah. And just a follow up to that too. We posted on our social media last week. We did pick up a massive Pokemon collection as well, with lots of sealed product and graded cards. So we've been flying through that. We purchased it from a well-known local collector. He has more. So I just told him to give us a week or two to sort through this and be ready for more. So we're excited to see what else he has. And we worked very well with him. He was patient with us, taught us a few things about it too. So our serious Pokemon collectors are coming in, and they're thrilled to see products they haven't seen in a few years. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, a lot of guys, like Steve said, some of our collectors that we've grown to know are coming in and really excited to add like a piece or a couple of sealed products to their collection. So it's been fun just talking to those guys and getting to know exactly what they have in their collections. And it's been exciting to have it in the store for sure.
Absolutely. And hopefully once we get Sherry back on here, we'll be able to, by that point, we should have a good inventory of what's going on and be able to kind of showcase some of that for you. And definitely between she and Blair, the experts, they'll be able to really break it down for us and give us a little bit more information. Hopefully translate some of that German into English. And then maybe we'll learn. Steve and I can learn something.
I may take that day off.
There you go.
I'm going to have to
Steve, you got to be cultured. You got to expand your horizons and become cultured.
Yeah.
And like all I got is the cheese string on. That's all I got. As long as I understand that one, I figured that part out. We're good. We're good there. That's as far as I can get here.
I sold one of those yesterday.
Yeah, as you should. They're excellent. Like I fully support the cheese string on, without a doubt and without a question. Okay. So with that said, we do have some requirements being in Canada. So we've got to talk about a little bit of the hockey. And in this case, we're going to talk about 22-23 Parkhurst Champions. So that's an upcoming product. So I want to be able to share with you. Cardboard Connections does have some images and everything. Checklist-wise, I think Beckett has the checklist. So I'll give you links to both. That way you can pick and choose whichever one works for you. I'll start off on Cardboard Connections, but if you want a checklist, you can pull an Excel file from Beckett. They have started providing those, which is great. And we'll start off here because at least we got some nice images. So you got Gretzky here. We got a little bit of a retro callback. It is Parkhurst. So this one's a callback to classic Parkhurst of the past. I'll give you a quick rundown here. You're going to have each pack contain 2 base cards from each of the 100 grouping. So 1 to 100, 101 to 200, and 201 to 300. Short prints include base rookie short prints, 1 in 7 packs, and base SP Legends, 1 in 20 packs. And you've got a number of different parallels. So I'll quickly zip through a couple of these. So for the base, you got silver rainbow, color variation, gold rainbow, red numbered to 51, black variation out of 10, and printing plate 1 of 1s. And similar breakdowns for your base rookie short prints and your base SP Legends. So you've got yourself a breakdown for that. Also, base photo variations, 1 in 480 packs. So Upper Deck's been employing these photo variants. They are tough to pull. So you got to pay attention for those because those ones are nice pulls if you manage. So here we got a little bit of 1950s flashback and Jukebox Heroes, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a player in front of a old school jukebox. So we're going a little bit of classic design there.
Yeah.
Then we got 51-52 retros that honor the 51-52 Parkhurst design. So the first year of Parkhurst, if you remember the Gordy rookie, Maurice Richard, I think, is a rookie in that one. Yeah. So you've got a number of different ones. So we're going to old school retro design on that. 100 card set that includes rookies. You check the back of the card for wrapper back variations. So you got a variant of that. And then blasters have an exclusive blue border version. So you've got a little bit of different combinations there that you can look at. So we got Tomorrow's Riches, which is literally a chest of treasure. So you got, that's kind of an interesting take on that. It looks like it's die cut as well. And then we got All-Star Legends, 1 in 1,200 packs. So that's a very tough pull. So you want to keep your eyes open for those kind of things. So we've got different parallels in some of these different ones. We got wire images. We've got Tomorrow's Riches, as I mentioned, Jukebox Heroes, 51-52 retros with multiple variations, and then 1950s flashback with a couple different variations as well. We do have autographs and relics in this product. So you can see there, if you're watching the YouTube version of it, we do have autographs here. So we got a Manny Beniers card. We got numbered variations of it. So you got an autograph patch. So in this case, in the image here, you got a Connor McDavid, which would be a heck of a pull. So that one looks like would be a pretty decent card. And then we do have various parallel breakdowns. I'm not going to go over all of these, but depending on the different categories, autographs, patches, relics, all kinds of things. And you got complete breakdowns of all that included here. And then your rare autographs apply to the throwback sets. So you've got 51-52 retro autographs. They are tough, 1 in 360 packs. And then rookie autos, 1 in 360 packs as well. And the Legends autos in the retro. So I always try to give a little bit of, be aware of these. In the Legends version, it's 1 in 1,920 packs.
Yeah.
So extremely short printed. So if you pull a Legend, I know a lot of people get very excited about the rookies, but in this case, if you pull a Legend, it's almost 1 in 2,000 packs. So it's extremely tough pull. So bear that in mind. That means they're going to be a little tougher to come by. Red auto variations. And then we're looking here at a Gretzky, for example, in Oilers. So that's kind of an interesting one. And if you know the 51-52, they put the little stats on the front, and the little bio is on the front of the card to match up with the original 51-52 Parkhurst. So let's see here if there's anything else. Configuration is 8 cards per pack, 20 packs per box. So you're getting 160 cards in a box and 12 boxes per case. Your average hobby box has 1 autograph or memorabilia card, 1 additional hit, 4 base rookies and or Legends short print cards, 4 base rainbow parallels, 2 base color variations, 1 base gold rainbow parallel, 3 of the 51-52 retro inserts, and 4 additional inserts of some kind. Jukebox Heroes, Tomorrow's Riches, 50s flashbacks, and or wire images. So bear that in mind. And there is a retail configuration for blasters, so you can check it out that way as well. And that is a brief breakdown of 2022-2023 Parkhurst Champions.
And I think this is also a great product to come back down to reality from the last couple of weeks of Bedard Mania. It's going to be very affordable product. And, looking at those inserts and that, a fun product. I'd like to get a couple of those, like the numbered Jukebox Heroes or whatever they were called. But it's definitely, I think, a very affordable and it'll be a pleasant experience opening it up, because we watched several people opening their hobby boxes looking for Bedard, and their hands were shaking. They were it was so nerve wracking. So this will just be a nice, relaxing rip.
I like it. Yeah.
I think, and I experienced this at the last card show that I went to. I think, and we'll kind of close off on this. But before I do, though, is there anything else for 22-23 Parkhurst Champions we want to touch on?
Nope.
No, that was pretty good.
Nice. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. It's just a heavy, heavy insert set, fun. I think there's, with having the legends and the new guys, current players. I think it's just going to be a really fun break for people. Yeah.
There's big cards in there too. So
huge.
For the cost of the product, you can pull something nice.
Yeah.
That's the reason why, though, I wanted to make sure I emphasize from that checklist. That's why I focus specifically on the legends autographs, because they short printed them by a lot. So it's one of those things where if you do pull one of those, because sometimes it almost gets forgotten. Sometimes you'll pull Upper Deck uses certain players in their little legends rotation, and what happens is sometimes they're almost like an afterthought. But if you short print them quite a bit, then it actually becomes kind of a sneaky good play. Don't just look for the rookies. I know people get excited about the rookies, but you might want to also pay attention that if you short print the other card enough, there's somebody out there who might be interested, and you've got yourself a nice card, especially a pretty tough pull.
Yeah, this set might drag me off the bleachers. I haven't opened a lot of product in a long, long time, but I like the sound of that, and that's who I used to chase. But I think I don't know how many times they've done this since, but in 2011-12, they did a Parkhurst Champions, and it was kind of similar to this. I don't think they did a lot of patchy stuff, but it was heavy autograph, and I went hard into that. I think I was 2 cards away from the master autograph set, just chasing, the wire photos and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know how many times they've done it since, but this one just sounds, a lot. It's got the patchy autograph, jerseys, just all that really limited and hard stuff to pull. So, I think it's going to be good.
I also was reading up on it too. And again, I was kind of out of the hobby, especially with newer product, but it was known more as a retail product. And I guess this year they're going heavier on the hobby side of it. So that should bring a lot more appeal and interest to this item as well.
Absolutely. And I think it's nice to have that mix and match for different folks and be able to do it. And I'm completely in favor of it because I'm off the hook. There's no Medano in it as far as I can tell. So I'm spared. I'm spared of this one. I already get tormented enough. Enough. Give me a break.
We'll keep our eyes peeled. And there's definitely no AEW guys in it.
Oh, don't worry. The AEW is coming. Don't worry. The AEW's I know Steve was clamoring, before we even started, Steve was like, Carlos, when's the next AEW coming? Steve, I don't know, man. You got to tell me. It is what Steve gets very excited about these things. He needs to calm down. I'm actually going to the AEW show on Wednesday, so I'll report back my findings for next week's episode. Yeah, they're doing it in Toronto, so I'll be checking that out. So it should be fun for me. I don't know if that translates to the cards, but it'll be fun for me either way.
Actually, I saw, speaking of that, they had, what was his wrestling name? I think he just goes by his name now. Canadian Edge.
Adam Copeland. Yep.
Yeah, Adam Copeland. Yeah, he was on Jay Onright this morning. I was watching my sports highlights as I was getting ready. He was on there, but he was doing a show there in Toronto locally.
Yeah, he'll be at that show. So he's doing the. I don't think it'll be the main event. I doubt it. Well, maybe it will be. I don't know. But they're going to. He's in a feature match with his buddy from years gone by, Christian Cage. So they're going to have themselves. They've had themselves a nice little feud that is going to culminate in an I Quit match in that show. So the two kind of Toronto-based guys are going to be in a very feature match. They'll be hitting each other with a lot of plunder. It'll be basically like you guys at the office. Somebody will get hit with a steel chair, and then somebody will get hit with a baseball bat. It'll be all over the place. I fully expect chaos to ensue.
Yeah, me and Steve almost had an I Quit match last week.
That's what I'm saying. I figured you could relate. I thought that you could relate. You just chuck blasters at each other until someone surrenders. So I assumed you could understand where that whole thing was coming from. So I think there was one more thing I was going to touch on. We touched on the product itself and everything. Oh, yes, I remember. So one thing I wanted to mention here at the end before we take off. So I want to thank everybody for checking out. Again, thank you for the comments, the engagement. We appreciate the thumbs up and the subscriptions. We're actually very close to 250 subscriptions. So I would love to get to 250 subs. We're right there. We're right on the cusp of it. If you're on the fence, do it for Blair. Just subscribe. Do it for Blair. Because otherwise he won't have the energy to fight off Steve in the next I Quit match at AMG. So if he needs that fuel, that energy from the people, best way to show that support is to subscribe. The other thing I wanted to mention, and Blair already mentioned it earlier, is that the trade night this month will not be at the end of the month. It got rescheduled, but we want to emphasize it again. Blair, can you give me the dates again?
Yeah, so it's going to be this Friday night, which is what, the 22nd? Sorry, I should know that.
I'll double check that for you.
Yeah,
it is the 22nd.
Yeah, this Friday night again, 5 to 8 at the shop, and yeah, we look forward to it. It's always a great time anyway. But again, this wasn't we just rescheduled due to holidays and stuff. But it's going to coincide with our Temporal Forces release, so I suspect it to be a heavy Pokemon crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that because the Good Friday holiday obviously threw that off and changed it up. So we want to make sure we emphasize that. And then next month will also be altered because of the Spring Expo. So normally it would be the last Friday of the month, and then obviously the card show on the Saturday. So in this case, we wanted to make sure we emphasize, because the original scheduling we had, the little poster flyer thing we had, didn't take that into account. So I just want to emphasize it one more time. It will be this Friday that the trade night will be happening. So again, to take into account the Good Friday holiday. And then next month, we'll remind you as we get closer to it. But for the following month, it's also going to be at a different time. I think middle of the month, if memory serves me. And that's going to be to account for the Spring Expo. And we'll talk more about Spring Expo as we get in the next couple of weeks. So I want to make sure we emphasize that here at the end. Otherwise, thanks again to everybody for the engagement and everything. Contact points have been scrolling across the bottom. If you've got a more burning question you need more direct response to, use those contact points. You'll get an answer quicker. Otherwise, throw something in the comments section. We'll read it. We'll usually follow up with it on the next episode. So with that said, we'll catch you all next time. For Steve, Collector of the Scallops, Collector of the People, and Blair, who's Blair. Thank you very much for checking out the AMG Hobby Talk podcast. We will catch you in the next one.